Talk about the Turkish elections over the weekend. Erdogan beat out Kılıçdaroğlu for the presidency of Turkey, so he's going to continue his reign. So he's been in one form of power or another pretty much, or at least on the national stage, since I believe '03. He had the prime ministership till around 2014, which he became Turkish president. And since then, he's been increasingly turning the state more and more authoritarian, consolidating power into his own grasp to mixed results. A lot of the Islamists and extreme nationalists within Turkey like Erdogan just due to his rhetoric. If you put him on a stage, his speeches are pretty energetic. He talked about bringing Turkey to the international stage, which a lot of Turks are still disappointed at Turkey losing out global influence after the demise of the Ottoman Empire, which the Ottoman Empire was essentially ran by the Turks. So a lot of Turks haven't really got over that. So just Erdogan's emphasis on bolstering Turkey on the global stage is very appealing. Secondly, Erdogan was able to use a lot of the state's funding to secure his election. So, for example, giving free internet to students, they gave out free amounts of, I believe, LNG cooking gas to many people throughout the country. He bolstered governmental salaries leading up to the election. So he was able to pump a bunch of money to basically nudge people, say, hey, vote for me. And this is all despite a lot of the blunders. So for one, just the economy has been in tatters, mostly due to Erdogan's irresponsible economic policy. So the traditional economic policies say that when inflation's going up, you need to raise interest rates to put on the brakes. So Erdogan's been doing the opposite. He keeps saying, without really any evidence, that lowering interest rates will ultimately help to ease inflation, which has not worked as of yet, and has really put the average Turkish citizen in a difficult place economically. And throughout all this, Erdogan has also been artificially trying to prop up the lira, the Turkish currency, which has caused them to burn through most of their foreign currency reserves. And one part of the scheme was saying, hey, if you have lira in these certain accounts that we'll set up, for every bit of a depreciation against the dollar, we will put more money in your account to basically have it worth what the currency was worth when you initially put it in, which has cost obscene amounts of money. So his economic policies haven't really been that great. A lot of corruption has caused hardships throughout the country. So, for example, in February, with down in the Hatay province, the earthquake caused a lot of lives to be lost, and a lot of it is due to shoddy construction, which a lot of the construction contracts are doled out by the government, but doled out to those with specific ties to Erdogan and the government under the AKP, the Justice and Development Party's control, as a lot of times given construction contractors the go-ahead to ignore, if you will, a lot of the safety regulations, which would have likely saved lives, particularly due to earthquakes, which Turkey as a country is geologically particularly prone to earthquakes. So that was a mistake, but the voters did not blame him for that. Again, a lot of it due to the largesse that he was able to dole out, a lot of it due to just his energetic rhetoric. I mean, just looking at Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, the opposition candidate, which he had these 6 opposition parties that ultimately formed a coalition to prop up Kılıçdaroğlu, but he was just kind of a dull character. He's been in Turkish politics for years, but hasn't really had too much success, to my knowledge, in any elections he's been involved in. He's just kind of a dud. Also, he was like, the way things have been run in this country, we're gonna have to change, which a lot of people, especially those on the lower rungs of the economic ladder who have been receiving some of the largesse, the funding from Erdogan's government, they kind of saw that as he's gonna change the status quo, take away their funding, which they need to support themselves to live, which is probably true, but not exactly the message that gets you to win the presidency. So there were lots of issues, especially they could have just the opposition in Turkey, this has been one of the reasons for Erdogan's success over the last 20 years, is that the opposition is just so disorganized. They love the bitter. It is almost, makes you question, are they really serious about taking out the AKP, the Justice and Development Party, or is it more about their own little egos and having these spats? Which, I'd say that's a big part to me, is a lot of their success has not come to fruition. But at this point, I'm sort of rambling. And the closeout, I want to say all international investors are pretty much looking at what Erdogan is going to do next. Is he going to continue his economic policies, particularly towards either keeping interest rates low or lowering them further under the guise of that will somehow, lowering interest will eliminate inflation, which we all know not to be true. We should have some more insights later this week, particularly rumor has it that he will be announcing members of his economic cabinet as early as Friday, if not sooner. So keep your eyes on that, as that will indicate much of what the future economically for Turkey holds.